Basically just done a very large loop along the southernmost point of the Chicago Botanic Garden grounds. Earlier I mentioned that there are 6 subcategories of prairie systems to be found in this area, and the 6th and final version can be found here along the shores of our pond. This is an example of a sand prairie, and these are grasses and bushes that love to grow in and around the sand dunes along the southwestern shores of Lake Michigan. So in case you happen to go to the beach at some point this summer here in Chicagoland, you'll run into wild versions of the same plants we have growing right over here on the right-hand side of our pond. As we exit the Dixon Prairie area and wave goodbye to the bur oak trees that greeted us on our way in, if we look off to the left-hand side, you might notice some little bird apartment complexes. These are the homes of our purple martins, which are remarkable songbirds that migrate here all the way from the Amazon River Basin every mid-April. That is a trip of more than 5,000 miles. The reason they fly all this way here is so that they can spend the entire summer feasting on their favorite food of dragonflies. They tend to return to the Amazon River in mid-September. You might be wondering why the purple martins live in these little bird apartment complexes rather than a little bird house like other species of birds prefer. And that is because purple martins are communal nesters. They make great friends with all the other local birds that we have in and around this area, like the brown house sparrows you might see hanging out with them. And purple martins are also remarkably fast birds. They do not stop flying even when they are eating and drinking, which is pretty incredible considering they fly at speeds of over 45 miles per hour. As we're going by our purple martin birdhouses on the left-hand side, you can direct your attention off to the right. Pretty soon you'll see Evening Island, which is home to a new American garden style. But also of note on Evening Island is the large bell tower we have sitting on top of it. That bell tower is called a carillon. And actually, if you wait long enough, if you wait on the hour every hour, you'll be able to hear this thing chime in the distance. Also on Tuesday mornings, like today, from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., we can actually play this thing like a musical instrument. There is a keyboard hidden on the island that allows our volunteer musicians to come by and play a free concert. So in case you want to hear us actually play this thing, you're welcome to come by on Tuesdays from between 10 and 11 during the summer. And if you choose to go, the bell tower also has 48 bronze bells inside, all of which were cast in the Netherlands back in 1986. The smallest bell we have is about 24 pounds, and the largest is more than 5,000 pounds. Some of you with a sharp eye may have noticed that over on the left-hand side, the Skokie River has been following us ever since we left the Dixon Prairie area. Indeed, the Skokie River is one of the 4 natural areas that we have in and around our garden. So in case you don't feel like going all the way back to the South Bridge where we just crossed a moment ago, just head on over to the western border of our garden and you'll be able to see many of the same species that I talked about earlier. From blue herons and egrets to hawks and falcons. We even have muskrats that live in and around this river, as well as all kinds of local species of fish, like bluegills and even bass. The interesting thing about the Skokie River and its flow right now is that it actually didn't used to always flow along the western border of our garden. It used to flow right down the middle of our property, but during construction back in the late 60s and early 70s, we actually moved the riverbed off to the western part of our garden, so that it would flow alongside of us rather than right down the middle of our property line. We have about 1 mile's worth of it that flows along the western border. Meanwhile, on the right, you might have noticed these big, sort of dark purple colored leaf trees, and they're interspersed with trees with a dark green leaf and also a light green leaf. Even though all these trees look very different from each other, they're actually all a part of the same tree family. This is our fastigiate collection, and they are basically all different types of beech trees. Right now, you might notice in the background we have some trees that kind of look like they've dried out in the sun, or maybe they look like they're from a Dr. Seuss book. First of all, I promise you they are supposed to look like that. Those are purple fountain beech trees, and they're a part of the same tree family too. The way you can identify a beech tree is thanks to its very distinctive bark, which is very, very smooth. If you remember the cottonwood tree from earlier in the tour, it had a very textured and wrinkly bark, but not the beech tree. Its bark is almost smooth like a pane of glass, and it has almost no wrinkles to it whatsoever. As we make our way past our fastigiate collection, if you keep your attention off to the right-hand side, pretty soon you'll see coming into view the smallest of the 9 islands that we have at the Chicago Botanic Garden. We are now passing by Spider Island. And no, it's not called Spider Island because it's covered in spiders. It's actually named that in honor of somebody's memory. The donor who provided us the funds to build Spider Island requested that we name it in honor of his late wife, Sally. It is said that Sally was such a kind-hearted and gentle spirit that she would never harm any living creature, not even a spider. Even though Spider Island is the smallest island that we have at the Chicago Botanic Garden, it looks much larger and much farther away than it actually is. That is due to the birch trees that are planted on the island shores. You can see these trees with a very distinctive white bark. They create an optical illusion of size and distance. But in reality, we're going to go by the bridge that takes you over to Spider Island, and you'll be able to see with your own two eyes that the bridge that takes you to Spider Island is actually longer than the entire island itself. As we go by Spider Island, the smallest island in our Botanic Garden, we're now crossing this bridge to enter Robert H. Malott Island, which is the largest island at the Botanic Garden. Robert H. Malott Island is also the home of our Regenstein Center. If you've been a fan of the Chicago Botanic Garden for some time, you might recognize the Regenstein Center as the old entrance to the Chicago Botanic Garden. That, of course, has since been moved over to the visitor center that you went through today, but there's still all kinds of wonderful things to see and do over at the Regenstein. For example, if you choose to get off here, you'll be able to check out our bonsai tree collection, where we have 32 bonsai on display at any given time. And some of these trees are actually pretty up there in terms of their age. The oldest we have on display is estimated to be between 600 and 1,000 years old. If you prefer to stay outside today, maybe you want to check out the Circle Garden, which is this little garden over here on the left-hand side.